I think a lot about portals in my work because I'm constantly opening up windows to other places and other times simultaneously. So creating this space that is a mix of Nigeria and cultures that come from other places but have naturalized to another place. Hi, my name is Njideka Akunyili Crosby. I had an exhibition as part of the Ross series in 2016. I was born in Nigeria and lived there until I was about 17, and then I moved to the United States. So in the practice, I'm really using the work to think about Nigeria as a country and how complex it is, having been a British colony, having a lot of American influence, especially Black American influence that we consume through pop culture, but also being a country that has over 200 different ethnic groups. So just thinking of how those influences are merging and mixing to give rise to this space that is constantly shifting and changing and reinventing itself. So taking that complex space and then thinking of this extra layer of me moving to the United States and then moving back and forth between this already complex space and America. I'm using my work to kind of think through all that, thinking about my life and the different places I've moved through, thinking of my parents' generation, who for them, a lot of them were born maybe in the village, but they went to the towns for school, thinking of my grandparents' generation, who for some born and died in the village and might have never moved into town. This piece behind me is titled Super Blue Omo. In it, you can see me mixing these different spaces I've experienced. You have the futon and the lamp, which are, for me, I really consider elements of interior spaces in the United States. We never had those lamp shades in Nigeria. So combining it with this old TV with a very famous commercial from the 80s in Nigeria, Super Blue Omo. And on the table, it's set up for tea. So a little bit about why I would include something like this in my work. I talked earlier on about Nigeria being a former British colony. So I'm thinking of the influences that are mixing in with traditional Nigerian cultures to yield this new transcultural space. And one of it is the influence from Britain. So Nigeria became independent in 1960 and the British left, but even though they left, there are still things that came with them that stayed on. And one example of it is tea culture. But the thing that fascinates me is not just that tea culture stayed, is that tea culture has changed and morphed to the point where the tea we have in Nigeria is now unique to the country. And so I'm really doing this play and jumps in time, place, cultures, countries. And so those are all the things I'm thinking about as I make the work.